Imhotep family, we now ready to get started in the class. Our class today is about power within the power. So I hope that everyone uh, have their PDF ready to look at the illustrations. The power within the power. There are two types of power that we all have as humans. Two types of power. As we have continued to talk about these power systems, we started last week in our last class. Today is Friday the 12th of August 2011. As we continue to talk about the powers that we have as individuals and as humans, we must also remember that even the creatures have these powers as well. We are going to go into the details of that, so we have more and more understanding about how we must be prepared, consistently prepared. We cannot go to sleep on this at all. We must be consistently prepared regarding how we exercise our powers. Now, the first power that we have is the superficial power. Now, the superficial means something that is on the surface, something that is light, something that does not require a whole lot of thought processes. And so we have to realize and continue to investigate what kind of power that we need to have in our own hands, what kind of power that we need to utilize so that our existence becomes relevant. Because now we know, with everything that is happening around the globe, we know that our existence is very irrelevant according to some people, according to other races. I mean, I have to be very specific about talking about races. We have to be very specific in terms of other races, realizing that we do know that our race, the African race, has been one that is consistently victimized, that is consistently degraded, downgraded, and actually driven into oblivion, where they expect that we are gone. We no longer exist, but that's never going to happen because we are very special, and we are very special because of what we are talking about today. So this is a very special lecture that we have here, which is the reason why I said we're going to have two recordings, one for the one that we send out to the students who are not here today, and then one that we're going to post on YouTube. So the superficial power that exists, I mean, that's also in all of us. All humans have that, and even the creatures have this superficial power. And this superficial power works with the DNA as well, because all the powers are coming from our DNA. But it specifically works with the pyrimidine. Now, the pyrimidine is the DNA proteins that primarily work with the sensory organs. They work with serotonin. So this particular power that we're talking about is right brains. And so that's the reason why the illustration that you have there, I have the right brain. So look at that illustration, look at that diagram. I have the right brain, and that right brain is associated with the pyrimidine. Now, as you can see, the pyrimidine is also one that works with three different kinds of proteins, protein codons. So those protein codons are thymine, uracil, and cytosine. And those are the ones that harbor the serotonin that we're talking about. So every time that you have this serotonin rush, that aggressive rush, that rage, and that everything that has to do in terms of taking you out of center. And that serotonin, and it's working with your thymine, because the serotonin then pushes all your with the thymine, which is the valves that basically gives you the push, the rush. It basically gives you a lot more of that rush within your thymine, so that the signals that are coming through your senses are now hastily being pushed. So you have that haste factor. You're always on the run. You're always running. And so, in fact, that is one of the things that we are experiencing today. You look at those people in Sudan and Somalia, they are always on the run, walking all the way from Somalia to Kenya. So we have been placed in that kind of situation. Just as you saw those brothers and sisters over there in the UK, in London and Manchester and all those other places, running, being attacked by the police, and then they are on the run. So we have been placed on the run, and so the agenda has been where we are forced to go onto the superficial power, where our action turns to reaction. So we are constantly in the mode of reaction, and so there is always the opportunity then for others to come against us, because they say, well, look at what they are doing, and so we need to take action against them. And that's what this guy over there, they call Cameron, whatever his name is, the prime minister, says, we're going to do this and this to these Negroes, basically. That's what he's saying. So we need to be able to understand that this concept of right brain functionality, we have to have control over that. So that's the power, that's the superficial power that we're talking about. And so this superficial power makes us very subjective. In other words, we look at a situation and then we say, oh, well, this situation is against me. You see, so we personalize on things and say, well, this particular situation is against me, and so therefore I need to take this action. And so when I take this particular action, then this result is going to happen, and so it's going to create this kind of outcome. And so the outcome has to be where my brothers and sisters will then come around and they will support my behavior, and so we move on. So we then not only create a situation or circumstances that affect us personally, but then they affect our neighbors, our brothers and sisters, and so forth. So what we need to do is have an educational process for ourselves, where we educate ourselves very thoroughly and understand that in fact we are exposed to two types of powers. We have the superficial power that we must then begin to control, because that particular power is right brain, and it works with the different kinds of DNA codons that allow serotonin to express itself. So we need to know that serotonin is not what we work with, but melatonin is what we work with, because we have melanin. See? So these are things that we have to understand, but we cannot understand this because the educational system that has been thrown into our throats, into our heads, into our memories are all wrong. The Caucasian education system is not for you, African. So I don't care how many PhDs you have, throw that nonsense down the gutter. It's not for you. It's not going to work for you. If it worked for you, why is it not working for your child? If it worked for your grandfather, why is it not working for you? So you know it's not working for you. So why do you even have to encourage it? All you have to do is throw that nonsense down the gutter, throw that degrees down the gutter, and tell them, look, we don't need you anymore, because you don't know what you are talking about. You don't even know the science that you are teaching. So it's time for us to get up and begin to condemn this nonsense that is being thrown into our laps. We don't need their education. We have better educations now. So, I mean, this is where we are going now, because we need to be able to understand the different kinds of intelligences that we have, which, like I was saying, their intelligence is very subjective, and so is serotonin driven. That's why they are consistently reactive. That's why they set up scenarios. A scenario where there is always an issue, where they will come up and say, well, we are going to control that issue because it is all a public disorder issue. You see, so they create events where there is some kind of disorder or chaos, because in fact that is what their father of philosophy, Plato, that is what Plato always talked about. That is what is the genesis of Plato thoughts. Plato always talked about chaos. This fool idiot they call Plato talks about God and the creative process, that even the universe came out of chaos. And so that is the same nonsense that they put in their Bible too. And that's what is the Big Bang Theory. The Big Bang Theory, which is in their physics and everything, is all about chaos. See? And so even in the Bible they say, and God said, let there be light. So there was some kind of a chaos for this light to come out, and which is all wrong. It's all false. See? And so they are trying to justify this lie, which is the reason why they have this atomic research thing over there in Switzerland. You know, they spent billions and billions of dollars on that nonsense, and they still can't prove the Big Bang Theory. So these people are full of lies. We need to move away from their education and actually introduce a different form of education, because it is very aggressive. Their education, everything they put together is very aggressive, and it's all based on fire. They have to always produce fire. Why do you think they love war? These people love to go to war consistently. There's going to be another war pretty soon. This year there's going to be war. They are going to attack Iran. So there's consistently something that gives them the drive, that serotonin push to go on to war. War, war, war. We are not that. So the thing about this superficial power was actually demonstrated in a research that was done in Japan a couple of years ago. There was research done in Japan a couple of years ago where Kyoto University in Japan had a chimpanzee, a 5-year-old chimpanzee, and college students, where they actually had different kinds of numbers. Now we come back again to numbers. Numbers. And what is the culture of Africa, my people? The culture of Africa is numbers. So when anyone comes to you and begin to throw this Bible thing into your face, throw that thing down the gutter. This doesn't belong to you. The Bible doesn't belong to you. The culture of Africa is numbers. So our existence has always been based on numbers. And so even when people ask about does God exist? No, there is no God. I don't even need to qualify that statement. There is just no God, because I know the science that in fact created the stars. So that's what you have to say as well. You are not going to say you are an atheist or this or that nonsense. Don't justify anything. There is no God, because I know the science behind that. The way that the stars were created and the way that in fact everything came into being was through pure energy. And this pure energy is based on waves. That's your argument. Walk away. Let no fool come in and begin to throw some rubbish into your face, telling you, oh, well, he's an atheist, she's an atheist. No, you're not atheists. They are the ones that are ignorant. So why waste your time with them? All you have to do is tell them there is no God. I'm not going to your church. I'm not going to your mosque. I'm not going anywhere, because of the fact that I believe that I know. I don't even believe. I know that the dark universe up there is full of pure energy, and that's the reason why the definition of energy is that which cannot be created or destroyed, and that which is here, there, and everywhere. That's pure energy, and that pure energy is black, dark like you. It's all melatonin. So that's what you need to tell them. Now, they don't want to respect your melanin. They don't want to respect your melatonin. And so they tell you that you are atheist. They tell you that you are this and that. And so they go and create chaos in your country. You know, in Africa, they look at how many people are killing themselves every day over there. There's some come and say, I'm Christian. The other fool says, I'm Islam. And so you have Christians and Islam fighting each other in Nigeria over there. So it's all so stupid. And then Africans are going with this nonsense when your culture is numbers. Numbers, that's what the Japanese used. They used numbers with a chimpanzee and their students. Numbers, they put numbers on the screen. I'm going to send you that PDF. Also, I'm going to add that PDF. In fact, I'm putting that in the book now I'm working on creativity. That's in the book on creativity right now I'm working on. So what they did was they timed the chimpanzee and then the students to be able to identify the numbers as the numbers were coming out on the screen. So the first time they did it, they timed them at 7 seconds, 0.7 seconds, 0.7 seconds, or 7/10 of a second. So the students and the chimpanzee all were doing well at 0.7 seconds. And then the researchers reduced the time, reduced the time from 0.7 seconds. They reduced the time to 0.4 seconds. 0.4 seconds. So they took 3 seconds from that 7 seconds. Now look who won the contest. The chimpanzee won, and those PhD students over there began to fail. They couldn't compete with the chimpanzee. And then the researchers reduced that time again to 2 seconds, 0.2 seconds. The students gave up. And the chimpanzee just kept going and going and going and going. This is a creature, my brothers and sisters. This is not a human being. The chimpanzee beat the human. What does that tell us? What does that tell us? First of all, let me ask you this question. What is the color of the chimpanzee? Like you, African, black, full of melanin and melatonin. So that proved one thing to the world, that any creature that has melanin and melatonin has a power within the power. So what that research showed the world, which is what they even don't talk about because they don't know, what that research showed the world is that there is a power underneath the superficial power. So the Japanese students were working with the superficial power, and that's why they were able to compete with chimpanzee in 0.7 seconds. Then the researchers reduced the time to 0.4 seconds. When they reduced the time to 0.4 seconds, the chimpanzee went from right brain to left brain. Let me repeat that. When the researchers reduced that time from 0.7 seconds to 0.4 and 0.2 seconds, the chimpanzee knew what to do. The chimpanzee brought his two brain hemispheres together. Look at the diagram that I showed over there. The chimpanzee brought his two brain hemispheres together where they were now synchronized, and the chimpanzee kept on going. Whereas the human beings, they got stuck in their right brain, they couldn't switch over to the left brain, and so they failed. Power within the power is in your two brain hemispheres. We all begin to do something or to participate in something with our right brain. Now you're going to have some of these stupid neurologists tell you, oh no, right brain is your creative brain. They are wrong. And I have challenged them a million times. Come on, get on the podium with me. That's why I'm putting this on YouTube. Let someone over there in Stanford University, someone at UCLA, someone at Oxford University, someone at the Sorbonne, someone at MIT, someone even at NASA call me. Put me over there on the podium. I challenge you. Like Queen Onlana said, I challenge the Caucasian. Now you think you are more intelligent than the African. Come on, take the Wonder Wheels test there. I put that on YouTube the other day. Then Queen Olana emailed me, I think yesterday. She said, well, no challenges yet. I said, yeah, Queen, they are not going to challenge. Because here it is, they've been running wild. The Caucasian has been running wild. That's why I'm putting this on YouTube so they can hear me. The Caucasian has been running wild, thinking that we don't know. Well, hey, the science has been boiling inside of us, boy. The science has been boiling inside of us. Now we are ready. We are not going to fight you with a gun, with nothing. We don't plant bombs. We are not terrorists. Although you planted that Nigerian boy over there, you planted some rubbish in the boy's underwear, so you can come up with some security nonsense, begin to fondle with women and babies at the airport. That's the whole thing. These people's mentality is always about some kind of heinous behavior. Always do something to demoralize the human being. Well, this is no longer going to work, because here we now are teaching the real science to humanity. Human beings can now get up and say, finally there's someone teaching the real science, and that's what we are doing. We are teaching the real science now so people can get away from your lies. You don't know, why don't you come and ask the African to teach you? That's the reason why you destroyed our civilization in Kemet. And you destroyed our civilization. You took all the papyri, to carry the papyri to London, to Paris, to Moscow, to New York, to Washington, D.C. You put them all in your museum and you lock them up. So now people can't even associate Africans with any form of intelligence. Then you come up with that ridiculous nonsense called your IQ test, all based on some superficial intelligence. Superficial intelligence, that's what IQ test is about. Just like you have your superficial power. And that superficial power is based on paper. Look at what's happening. Their paper money is all faltering all over the place. Their paper money, look at what's happening with their paper money. It's falling apart everywhere. Now they are coming here with this solution, that solution. They are all scared. Superficial power, superficial intelligence doesn't work. So that's why we have this lecture today on power within the power. Now let's go to the next power base here that we have. So as you look at the PDF, my brothers and sisters, you begin to see now that underneath that pyramiding, the pyramiding which I drew as the pyramid, because that pyramiding came from the word pyramid. And you know what? Before we go down to the denominating factor, which is what I talked about again in one of the videos that we have, was the fact that there are two scenarios here. There is a duality in everything that exists, and there's a ratio. The duality is a ratio. So a ratio gives you a numerator and a denominator. So that same duality, the numerator is always the one that is associated with light, which is what this Caucasian likes, light and fire. And that's why he likes war, because the light is very superficial. But then he doesn't even know what creates light. What creates light? Of course, I put that on YouTube. So that's what they always hang up on this superficial nonsense. And so they begin to pretend, well, yeah, we can do that. We're here. They have tried to build the pyramid. They have tried to construct the pyramid as we did in Kemet. Well, the Japanese tried. The Japanese tried, I think, in the 1980s or so. They failed. Now, of course, you have, Americans building pyramids in their cities. Here in Long Beach State here has a pyramid over there. But you know how they build it? It's like the same way that Brother Myers over there built the pyramid a couple of months ago. The brother called me here and said, brother, hey, I want to build a paper pyramid. So I said, hey, come on, use these dimensions. The brother did, and then he built a paper pyramid. So yeah, we all can build paper pyramids. We all can build steel pyramids. But now, go and begin to take granite stones and see if you can get anywhere. The Japanese spent millions and millions of dollars. They couldn't do it. And then look at what we did. Look at what we didn't have any cranes. We didn't have any concrete making machines. We didn't go putting brick by brick. We just went and carved that rock right underground and then lifted it up by what else? The power within the power, my people, the power, the denominating power. Think about that. The denominating power, that is the second power, and no other race of humans. That's why I'm going to put this on YouTube. Let any race out there challenge me. The power within the power. We went down to the second power, and that's the second power that we used to cut those granite stones on the ground, and that's the second power that we use to levitate those rocks on the ground, 100-ton rocks. Levitate them from underground up, and then put them on barges, and then put them on the Nile, and then bring them over to Karnak. Hundreds of miles. That's what we did. No one can do that. No one can repeat that. And then, they lie. They call them the Egyptians. Rubbish. That's why the book I'm working on now, The Creativity for Children, I put the faces of the pharaohs there. The kings of Kemet. See if there's any Jew face on there. See if there's any Greek face on there. You look at those brothers there. You have the pharaohs from Zimbabwe, Dogon pharaohs, Nigeria Hausa pharaohs, Somali, Sudan pharaohs, all from Africa. No Greek pale face on Kemet. So why are you claiming otherwise? No Arab face there. Why are you claiming Egyptians? Why don't you just say Africans? Well, you know what? They are never going to give African nothing. And that is why you have the Bill Gates, Tertullus, who want to eliminate Africa completely from the planet. But you know they are not going to do it. Why? Because we have the power within the power. Remember that. Always say that to yourself, the power within the power. You have it, and stop quitting. Stop looking at yourself as if you're a failure. Always realize whatever you put your mind on, you're going to accomplish it. I don't care how many walls they put in front of your face. You will jump over those walls. You will go around those walls. You will accomplish what the ancestors say you will accomplish. Don't just go force yourself into something that is not real. Because if you force yourself into something that is not real, then you're going to find yourself under their grips. You just keep staying with the truth. Keep staying with the truth. Don't be carried away with their drugs. Don't be carried away with their silliness. Their entertainment, this and that. You don't belong there. You need to be a teacher, not an entertainer. Entertain who? Them. You are not entertaining no African person. You are entertaining them. So you better begin to make up your mind. So anyways, the power within the power is in another creature. This creature here is the crow, the bird called the crow. Now, some of you may have read about the crow, about the intelligence of the crow. That bird is I would say is the most intelligent bird on earth, the crow. Now, ask yourself, what is the color of the crow? See, I mentioned about the chimpanzee. The chimpanzee was put in a laboratory in the college, in a university laboratory, and tested. Now, you see the chimpanzee is African like you. That's why they say, the African is still in the ape stage. But see, they defeat themselves because of the fact that the ape, in fact, is highly more intelligent than them. But see, they have to demean that ape so that they can demean us.